This is Badass Billy Gunn, 11-time WWE Tag Team Champion, Intercontinental Champion, Hardcore Champion, and you're listening to IcoPod. You gotta hear this. And if you're not listening to this, I got 2 words for you. Suck it.
And we're back with episode 41 of IcoPod. I'm Bob Collins Jr. With me, as always, is Austin Skinner as we continue our journey through WWF 93. The last time that we were here, Shawn Michaels had vacated the Intercontinental Championship. And now we are at a point where Razor Ramon and Rick Martel are fighting for the gold. Austin, what's going on?
Hey, yo. I'm excited for this episode. I don't know about you, Bob, but I'll tell you what. Going into this one, I have to say we're in very interesting times here on Monday Night Raw. Not really, didn't see the Shawn Michaels vacating the title thing coming. I, of course, remember it happening in 93. I didn't know the timeline, though. Like, I wasn't sure exactly when. And as we got later into the year, I was like, okay, it's going to be any time now. But boom, here it is. So, of course, we have the Battle Royal last week. Your last 2 men standing, Razor Ramon, Rick Martel. And here we go. Tonight on Monday Night Raw, a new Intercontinental Champion will be crowned. Bob, where are you at on this? Are you pulling for the Razor's edge, or are you pulling for the model?
It is the era of the bad guy.
Yeah.
In my household, because Rick Martel returning feels pretty out of place, kind of forced. I mean, back when a couple weeks ago, he fought Tatanka, and it's a guy that he hasn't beaten in about 2 years. And, they're trying to force you into believing that this guy has a shot. I mean, Rick Martel, let's give him some credit here. In the 80s and stuff like that, he was a pretty good hand, a pretty good wrestler. He had some really good matches with Ric Flair.
Sure.
And things like that. Had a good tag team with Tito Santana, but it would seem that as soon as he became the model, the in-ring kind of took a dip, kind of relied on the character to get his heat.
Yeah.
And as a result, his matches have arguably become kind of boring and stale.
For sure. And, now that I'm thinking about it, if Rick Martel was not the model in 1993, does he even have a spot on TV?
If he's just like a regular old Rick
Martel?
It's
just Rick Martel.
No.
Absolutely not. No. I think really it's kind of an opportune time for Rick Martel to be the model, because everybody who's on TV for the most part is a gimmick or a character. So, geez, he got lucky with that, I'd say. But as far as like kind of where you were hinting towards, personally, I don't buy into Rick Martel at all possibly becoming the champion. I'm not even sure, like, as a watcher then, if you could have. He doesn't seem like too much of a threat to a guy like Razor Ramon, in my personal opinion. Now, don't get me wrong, Ramon's had some heavy losses in 1993. But you definitely see that, like, he's on the verge of superstardom. I mean, he's a major player at this point.
Well, yeah, I would agree with you. Now, this match that we're coming up to on today's episode, whenever you're listening to this edition of IcoPod, this was a match that obviously I did not ever see live because I was about 4.
And where was I, Bob? Let's remind the people.
You were not even developed yet.
Oh, that's not what I was hoping to hear.
You were in your dad's ball sack. So there
it is.
This was a match that I recall seeing probably when I was like 6 or 7, because I would rent Coliseum videotapes from my local Wegmans. And this, the match between Martel and Ramon was on Monday Night Raw Prime Cuts.
Oh.
And I remember watching the match on that tape. And at the time, mind you, I was 7 and I hadn't seen a whole lot of wrestling. I thought it was a great match.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Ramon, bad guy, woohoo, yeah, great. He's champion now. But I don't even know back then, watching it, I don't think watching it I was ever like, Martel's got a shot.
Yeah. I don't really know. I mean, unless you're a huge Rick Martel guy, I can't see really anybody in the crowd kind of buying into or pulling for him either. I don't know. I could be wrong, could be totally off gauge, but as Bob just said, as a 7-year-old, a very keen 7-year-old, and me as a nutsack, we both knew that, pretty much Rick Martel was dead in the water this time around. But hey, stranger things have happened. We've seen Mad Monks and Adam Bombs and Max Moons, and maybe we'll see Rick Martel as the IC champion in 1993.
Well, you never know. I mean, usually the heel in these kind of environments would win the title because that means the face would chase after him.
Sure.
But I think we've already spoiled as to who has won, but that's okay. Anyway, so let's continue on here with our episode. Let's get into some observer notes, house shows, and syndication before we actually get into the program. Jerry Jarrett, who is currently a promoter, owner, whatever you want to call it, carny, I guess, for the USWA, was at a recent TV taping, and he left the impression amongst many wrestlers that Jerry thought he had some authority when it came to creative ideas. Mind you, I don't even know if he is like with the WWF, signed any kind of power.
I want to say at this time, and this could be totally off the cuff, but I want to say at this time, him and McMahon were at least in talks. I don't think he was quite backstage yet, but I do believe, give it a little bit of time, and he is throughout the 90s, especially like when Vince is like teetering on jail time.
Yeah.
Because I've heard from somewhere that it was going to be Jerry Jarrett like next in line to take over like head creative for WWF while Vince was in prison.
Yeah, that's obviously like in 94. I think he had actually signed like a multi-year deal or something like that.
Right. So I think I'd be under the impression to maybe believe that they're at least in contact. I doubt, like you said, though, I doubt he's signed to anything at this point.
Well, remember, the USWA and WWF have been working together.
Right.
Various WWF guys going to USWA, vice versa.
Right.
So there is some kind of working relationship there. They just would appear that several wrestlers in the WWF were just like, Jerry, this isn't the USWA. Like, you can't tell us that we're doing this, or your suggestions don't really hold weight here.
Yeah.
That it would have seemed that would appear to be the situation.
I agree.
At the recent TV taping, there were a couple of new faces. Only a few though. Usually, like there's like a list of like 9. Some of them will hold on, some of them won't. This time around, it was Pat Tanaka and the Rock and Roll Express competing at the recent taping, with Tanaka reportedly having really good matches with the 1-2-3 Kid and Marty Jannetty. Now, I would be concerned if he didn't, considering 1-2-3 Kid and Marty Jannetty are two of arguably the better in-ring wrestlers that the WWF has at this time. So that shouldn't really be a surprise that, oh, hey, Pat Tanaka had a good match with, 2 young or relatively young workers and kind of work the same style.
Yeah, is it really him or is it them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The 1-2-3 Kid, for Christ's sakes, apparently got Rick Martel a job back because they were working on the house shows. And if Martel looked good, then they would bring him back. So
there you go.
That should be an indicator. The Royal Rumble will be taking place in Providence, Rhode Island, and WrestleMania will be held at Madison Square Garden. Of course, that's not until January and March of 1994, respectively. So just give you a heads up as to the venues here.
Mm-hmm.
Medusa was offered a contract to start on November 6th, but she has not accepted the offer yet.
Interesting. So we're going to see maybe some ladies.
Yeah, I don't know the last time that women's wrestling was really featured on WWF programming. I mean, late 80s, I think, maybe 88-ish.
Yeah, I mean, because really Cyndi Lauper was more of a personality than.
Well, yeah, but like the Jumping Bomb Angels and stuff like that, I don't think that was anything 90s.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Japan's always featured women heavily in their respective promotions. You have All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling, which was huge. kind of 80s, 90s. But as far as stateside, yeah, nothing really pops to mind. No.
Yeah, and at the moment, I believe it's just really Luna.
Right.
That is a woman character, female character. So
right, because Sherry's not even on, programming anymore.
yeah, she's not even. Yeah, she got fired at the airport as she was going to the show. Yeah. The September 27th edition of Raw, which featured a Rick Martel Tatanka match, as the feature got a 2.7 rating. By comparison, remember the Steiner Brothers Quebecers, that title change got like a 1.9.
Yeah, right.
So maybe Rick Martel is a freaking ratings draw. Maybe people love to see those calves just bounce as he kicks people and is all oiled up and whatever.
Yeah, and his really long boot strings.
That is incredibly accurate that they are really long. I would have to think that now that Doink is a babyface, that he'll probably prank Martel on that and tie him up together.
Oh, there you go. Now you're thinking, Bob.
Now you're thinking ahead of the game here. On to some house show notes. I have 3 house shows. 2 of them are the WWF, and one of them is Smoky Mountain Wrestling. One of my favorites. Mike Campbell agrees with me. He's even messaged me and been like, Bob, you're smart. Go Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Austin's an idiot. He said it. I quoted it too.
Go Smoky a joint, okay, Mike Campbell? I don't give a fuck.
No, he drinks beers. He makes Facebook videos of him drinking beer. So he was maybe drunk.
Whatever. Okay.
But certainly not high.
Well, you're probably a little Smoky Mountain over there, Bob. If you think.
Listen, one of these days we're going to do a Smoky Mountain Wrestling bonus episode, and it's going to knock your socks off. So.
You know what? I wouldn't be opposed to doing that, actually.
Well, we are. We at one of these times, maybe by the end of the year.
Okay.
We'll do it. Or maybe we'll start off 94, rocking and rolling with some Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
All right. Well, here's some house show notes. October 9th, the WWF had a show in Vienna, Austria at the Vienna Bicycle Racing Hall.
Oh, I remember this hall. We've talked about this hall before.
Have we? That's an interesting name. I feel like I would have remembered it.
Yeah, the Bicycle Hall. That's why I remember it.
Oh, okay. The show featured Bob Backlund taking on Papa Shango. 1, 2, 3 Kid against Doink the Clown, who was apparently played by Steve Lombardi, a.k.a. Brooklyn Brawler.
Boo.
Head Shrinkers taking on the Smoking Guns. Adam Bomb took on The Undertaker in a casket match.
Ooh.
Lex Luger battled Ludwig Borga. Mr. Perfect squared off against Diesel. And Razor Ramon was in singles action against his hated rival, IRS.
I would have went to that card.
Yeah, really aside from Backlund, Shango,
pretty strong.
yeah, I can probably survive that.
Right.
And it doesn't have like the world champion, no Yoko, no Taker, nothing. So that's probably the B team.
No, Taker's in there.
Oh yeah, you're right. Taker. I did say Taker. Yeah. Well, there's no Yoko.
No.
There's no Brett.
No Brett.
I almost said no Razor, but for Christ's sakes, I just said Razor Ramon against IRS.
Yeah.
But I would still say that's probably the B team.
Yeah. Right.
I would have
well, because no tag champs.
Right.
So, you know what though? For me, like you said, I mean, the perfect Diesel match probably was not too good.
Diesel in 93 is probably a little rough.
Yeah. I mean, IRS, Razor, who knows? That could have been a mixed bag. But yeah, for the most part, definitely. I'd go to that show and, as we've said in the past, probably get a pretty decent ticket for that.
I'm sure IRS made everybody in Austria fall asleep with his constant rest holds.
Well, yeah, they don't pay taxes in Italy.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Well, then maybe he was a babyface.
I made that up, but regardless. I would have been interested in the casket match and hopefully Adam Bomb putting Undertaker's ass in the casket.
Yeah, to me, I don't know why Adam Bomb isn't like one of the top heels right now.
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
He's just floating around.
Come on.
You wouldn't even know if they didn't put him on TV every 3 weeks that he was even there. He's not in a major program or anything. He's such a big guy. He's got a good look. He does some impressive moves. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the agility, but
I don't get it.
I don't either. Now, there was a second WWF show that featured a different crew of guys. So I guess maybe this will be where we can compare like which is really the A or B team.
Mm-hmm.
Now we both would say. By the way, I would go to the Vienna show. I don't know if I mentioned it here, but
Oh yeah.
the second one here is in Des Moines, Iowa,
Oh, boy.
at the Veterans Memorial Auditorium, and it's reported that there was 1,500 fans in attendance, and that seems pretty low.
Hold on, I gotta stop you right there.
Yeah.
Vienna, Austria.
Yeah.
Why did I say fucking Italy?
Oh, I don't know. Austria, Italy.
Oh my
They're
fucking god!
they're both over the ocean. It don't matter.
I was probably maybe thinking Venice.
That is probably, yeah.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
We're saying Mike Campbell's drunk, for Christ's sakes. You're probably over.
Oh
this.
yeah, I'm the one Smoky Mountain wrestling.
Yeah, Smoky Mountain wrestling it. I bet you Brian Lee versus Tracy Smothers is on your TV right this second.
Absolutely.
I
Fucking A. All right, sorry, Bob. Back to Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah, Des Moines, Iowa. The show featured the Bushwhackers taking on Well Done, and I'll tell you right now, I would have walked out the door.
Yeah.
Owen Hart battled Barry Horowitz.
Oh, fucking A.
Randy Savage with the Macho Midget squared off against Bam Bam Bigelow.
They have this fucker on tour with him?
I guess.
What a bitch.
They paid for that ticket to go to Des Moines, Iowa for 1,500 fans. Although, to be honest with you, Macho Midget could probably fit in your carry-on bag, so you probably didn't have to worry about it.
Here we go.
Yep. All right. So Tatanka met Bastion Booger in a singles match. WWF Tag Team Champions, the Quebecers, defended the titles against Men on a Mission. Marty Jannetty battled Tom Stone. Don't have any idea who the hell Tom Stone is. And the main event saw WWF World Champion Yokozuna defending against Bret Hart inside of a steel cage.
That's the fucking E team. Holy shit on a shingle. That's horrible. What the fuck?
I don't know if it's that bad.
They gave all the money to Brett and Yoko and then couldn't afford anybody else. So it's like whoever we got on the fucking truck. Put Macho Man and the Midget in there and fucking Tom Stone. There's your truck.
There you go. Solid.
Son of a bitch.
Well, come on. Let's
go into that.
Savage
outside the arena. Fuck this show. Fuck this show.
Well, I mean, Bushwhackers, well done. Like I said, I'm probably, as soon as I hear the Bushwhackers theme song, if I like just sat down, I would have stood right up and said, "Nah, fucking today," and walked right out.
Yeah, it's like that's basically them offending you. It's like,
yeah,
do you taste shit? I taste shit.
Yeah, I mean, back then tickets were probably like $5, and they were probably like, "Hey, Bob, you just threw $5 in the toilet because here's the Bushwhackers for 17 minutes, probably."
That's like two middle fingers fighting inside the ring, and you just got to watch that. Like, fuck you and versus fuck you tonight. Here you go, folks.
Pretty much. But if we ignore the negativity there, I mean, come on, Savage, Bigelow, Quebecers, Men on a Mission, Yoko, Brett, like that's a solid 3.
That's a solid E. Get the fuck out of here.
I guess you're not going to that show then.
Well, here we go. Let me break it down for you. Okay. First of all, Quebecers fucking suck. Okay. So you got that. And then
whoa.
You know the Macho Midget.
Whoa. You cannot sit there and say that the Quebecers fucking suck. They
fucking suck, okay?
No,
they're trash.
You have just horrible taste in professional wrestling. This is the same guy who is like, I'm loving Lex Express. I love that Lex Luger was forced to play sports and forced to be in a music group and forced to ask out a girl to a fucking dancer or whatever.
That shit alone already.
Like, this is fucking bullshit.
Okay, Jacques is better. Right off the bat, Jacques is better. Okay.
No, Pierre is the better one. Jacques is the better like character and promo probably, but Pierre is far superior in the ring. This is
no. And then Macho Midget's getting involved in that other bullshit match. So that's fucking ass.
Yeah.
And then third of all, Yoko ain't climbing over the goddamn cage.
No.
There's your fucking finish.
No.
It's real simple here, Bob. Looks like my ass is getting on the next plane to Vienna Sausage Town to see the fucking A show. Fuck the B show. Fuck the E show. I'm going to the A show, buddy.
Yeah, you're piecing out on that one.
Oh, hell yeah, I am.
Well, it's funny. There is actually a match I believe it's 95, where Yokozuna has a cage match with Diesel, and he tries to climb out of the cage.
That sounds fun. I want to watch that.
It's on the WWE unreleased matches set,
Ooh, okay.
which I reviewed at WrestlingRecaps.com.
Maybe I'll go read it or not, because I have
Probably not.
Yeah,
I think it's on disc 3 if anybody goes to there. Anyway,
that's sad to know that.
I think I could be wrong.
You know exactly.
It's either 2 or 3. It might be 2.
You have the DVD timestamp, okay? You fucking
disc 3 hour, 1 hour, 34 minutes and 17 seconds in. If I'm right, if anybody looks that up and I'm right, I deserve a beer.
You deserve to be assassinated if you're right. You fucking sick animal, you.
That would be good. That would be pretty bad. Anyway, the visual of Yokozuna trying to climb out of a cage.
It's like a video game.
Oh, it's brutal because the guy at that point in 95 is about a legit 750.
Oh, yeah.
You would have thought the ropes were about to collapse. And to be honest with you, I believe his attempt is essentially him sitting on the top rope with his hands on the cage. So he's not really moving anywhere, but just the potential visual is quite hilarious.
Well, it reminds me of like when you'd play the old video games and you do the match, right? So you're sitting there with a buddy and it's like, all right, we're going to do a ladder match. But the trick is all of your characters have to be over 300 pounds. So you get the guy who pick Andre, you pick Big Show, you pick Yokozuna, Bam Bam Bigelow. You have a ladder match and they're all flying off the ladder and shit. It's fucking hilarious. And to know that that's a real match, Diesel and Yoko in a cage match.
Yeah,
I have to go read your review on that.
I believe I actually have a GIF of it as well.
Okay.
I actually inserted in the post of him attempting to climb out because I was like, this is the greatest 24 seconds of my life. So I had to share it for all to see. So,
okay. All right.
Well, that show is certainly not as strong as the Austria show. So I would probably have to skip it. And if I was touring with the WWF as a fan, which some people do, I don't know how many times I would have seen Yoko and Bret Hart in a cage match at this point. So I would probably be like, you know what? I'll hold off.
Well, I think at first me and you were like, oh, okay, that could be, cage match. We're cage match guys, but no.
Well, their cage match on August 13th, which I have also, again, reviewed at WrestlingRecaps.com, is actually pretty damn good. But, of course, that's an MSG. So they might, phone it in.
Right.
In Iowa in front of 1,500 fans. So
right.
Kind of, I don't know. Well, I think at this point I'm probably,
you're good.
I guess, I'm over it.
Yeah, you're good.
Essentially, yeah.
We're good on that.
Yeah, it's a relationship that I've lost interest in.
Sure.
Moving on.
Yeah.
And the final house show is not a WWF sanctioned event. It is a Smoky Mountain Wrestling show that took place in Barberville, Kentucky. Later, I hate the bad guys and I love my good guys. Shoot. There was 1,009 people.
Cool. Shit.
So almost the same as Des Moines, Iowa.
That's pretty fucking
cool. Barberville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And the show featured Dirty White Boy taking on my favorite Tim Horner. Chris Candido took on Bobby Blaze.
No.
The Bullet, Bob Armstrong, looked to get some revenge against that killer Kyle. I don't like him.
Holy shit.
Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team Champions, Ricky Morton, Rob Gibson, defended against Scott and Steve Armstrong. They're not as good as their father, though, I'll tell you that much.
Wow.
Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight Champion Brian Lee, primetime Brian Lee. He's with that no good Tammy Fitch. Defended against Tracy Smothers, who has Sensational Sherry in his corner. My God, is she hot? She's one of the better-looking hookers here in Barberville, Kentucky.
Wow.
I'll tell you that right now.
Wow.
What, too much? Did I say too much?
You need to fucking stop.
Shoot. And then the main event saw the Steiner brothers, they're smart boys from Michigan, taking on Tom Pritchard.
Smart boys.
The Steiner brothers. They took on Tom Pritchard and that Jimmy Del Rey. And let me tell you, that Jimmy Del Rey, when he moves his hips like that, get me a little excited. And then I start questioning myself, and then I hate myself, and then I start drinking. And my wife, Lisa, is all like, why are you getting all upset about Jimmy Del Rey? And then I got to hit her. and I gotta hear it. And I say, "You leave me alone, bitch." I like my pro wrestling.
Oh shit!
All right.
I think you just achieved offending more than 10 groups of people with.
No, that's if I were to say something right now about like, blackface is it's acceptable as long as it's costume, like Megyn Kelly did, and then she lost her job, but she still got like $69 million. Then I would be offending probably everyone. Now, mind you, I don't think blackface is ever acceptable. Not even at WrestleMania 6 when fucking Roddy Piper did it for Bad News Brown. That wasn't acceptable either.
Well, how about whiteface?
I don't know.
Because I do whiteface every day, and people are probably pissed.
What? Okay. I don't know. Well, here's the thing. Okay. So, anyway, let's first get to this show. Would you go? You probably wouldn't go to the fucking show because you hate Smoky Mountain Wrestling. You've never even seen anything Smoky Mountain Wrestling related, correct?
I would mail a fucking turd there. Okay. I wouldn't have mailed a piece of shit to sit in them bleachers.
Wow.
Holy fucking hell.
God almighty. Well, for me, considering I've watched the entire year, 1993 Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, well, I survived it. It's one of their stronger shows, especially for a house show. Brian Lee and Tracy Smothers had a pretty big angle. Heavenly Bodies, Steiner Brothers. Come on, best match at SummerSlam, unless you're Austin, who's like 1, 2, 3 Kid and IRS is the best match there.
Yeah, well, it was. So
the best 5 minutes and 12 seconds of my life. Get the fuck out of here.
That better be a rematch on the Survivor Series, or I'm going to be
probably
fucking
not
livid.
It's probably not going to be. And I want to point out that actually the Steiner brothers were supposed to defend the titles in Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Ooh,
Mike Campbell told me that, and
you need to stop kissing your ass.
You know what? I like Mike Campbell, so it don't matter. You can kiss my ass all you want.
Whatever.
He's cool with me. But they instead decided, hey, we'll give it to the Quebecers. Whatever. So
I told you this already. We already went over this. Fuck the Quebecers.
You know what, man? I'm kicking you off.
Pierre's the better one. Pierre. Yeah, okay.
Pierre is the better one.
These nuts he is.
Pierre is the better one. Pierre is better than Jacques. That's the facts of life.
I refuse to accept it.
Anyway, as the only Smoky Mountain Wrestling fan on this podcast, it is probably a show that I would go to. Not that Austin Skinner gives a flying fuck.
Fucking
it is.
Shocker.
I wouldn't get front row because, I don't like the Armstrong brothers and they're a weak opponents for Rock and Roll Express, and Killer Kyle blows. But I'd probably get a little bleacher seat for like $3.
You know what? So here's my next point. Why is everybody's name in Smoky Mountain fucking bullshit? Like, you got Evil Eddie and Terrible Ted and fucking
you got Dirty White Boy Tony Anthony.
Fuck that name.
Tim Horner.
That's fine.
Chris Candido.
That's fine.
Bobby Blaze.
What the fuck?
The Bullet, Bob Armstrong.
Okay, that's stupid.
Killer Kyle.
Horrible.
Ricky Morton.
Normal.
Robert Gibson.
Normal.
Scott and Steve Armstrong.
Normal.
Brian Lee.
Yeah, but no, Prime.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. Thank you. Tracy Smothers.
That's okay.
Thank you. Tom Pritchard. Jimmy Del Rey.
Yeah.
Rick and Scott Steiner. So you're basically saying, well, these guys are fucking names. You just said 2 people had stupid names.
No, you've told me more.
Yeah, but we're only talking about right now. So my point stands. So thank you.
Okay, Bobby Blaze and Terrible Ted and Killer Kyle. Why don't you kiss my ass with that, okay?
Wow.
I like real characters like the Bastion Booger.
Oh my God. Friar Ferguson.
You're damn right.
He's going to hit me with holy water.
Abso-fucking-lutely. He's going to teabag you for the pin. 1, 2, 3.
I like Iron Mike Sharp.
Fucking A.
He's great.
Damn right. Why don't they grow up over in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, okay?
You got horrible taste.
Fucking grow up.
Horrible taste. Moving on to some syndication. There's not a whole lot going on. I'll tell you that right now. The October 9th edition of Superstars saw Bam Bam Bigelow get interviewed, and he promised that Doink the Clown would pay for embarrassing him, which he did a couple of weeks ago on Raw.
I got to be honest here at this point, Bob, with Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah.
I pretty much have zero fucking interest in anything he does.
I think he got there way before Adam Bomb did.
Yeah.
But it's like a major disappointment, especially. So we've started covering him, Royal Rumble, right? 93.
Yeah.
He wasn't even on, he was supposed to be on WrestleMania 9 against Kamala, which never happened.
Right.
And he had a pretty good showing at King of the Ring. But his feud with Tatanka isn't really.
They pretty much kiboshed it. Like nothing.
Yeah, he scalps the guy, like what Shawn Michaels was talking about. He does it like on Superstars, and they're just like, "Oh, hey, by the way, this is never gonna blow off on television."
Yeah, forget about that.
Yeah, like don't even pretend to even care.
Yeah,
and now he's involved in a feud with a clown
who
pranked him like 4 times.
I was gonna say not only a clown, but a clown who got him to trip over a wire that wasn't even fucking there. Like holy shit.
Yeah.
And the whole part is like him with Luna is fucking perfect.
It is. It's a great match.
But nothing's going on. Bam Bam is basically, you could swap out Bam Bam for Iron Mike Sharp and no storylines would be interrupted at all. Like no, you wouldn't even know.
He could disappear and then return like 3 years from now and people would be like, "Oh, who's Bam Bam Bigelow?"
You still mad at Tatanka? Like, what the fuck is this bullshit? Dude, I don't care. They've made me not care.
Yeah. You know what? And I wonder if he's like a victim of just the constant influx of talent.
And as weird as it to say, too, I almost feel like being a big guy in 93 didn't help. Look at fucking even Mr. Hughes. Like, nothing ever happened with Mr. Hughes, then he just left. Giant Gonzalez, it was horrible. Yokozuna has seen a major decline. Adam Bomb, nothing's going on. It's almost like they're still about the body guys, don't get me wrong, but if you're not a body guy or at least can do some pretty cool moves, they don't give a fuck about you. It's like, well, okay, whatever, you're on the card, but big deal.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's so weird because Bam Bam's such a good tool to like utilize, and they're not.
Well, and it's the same thing, like what we've mentioned before with Mr. Hughes, is that he was clear. It would appear that he was supposed to fight Taker at SummerSlam 93. And then they're just like, no.
Yeah, they invested all that TV time.
Yeah. They start the feud right before King of the Ring.
Right. It's a pretty solid little push for him.
Yeah. I would rather have seen him in Taker instead of Taker Gonzalez.
Absolutely.
And the match with Gonzalez was a match that only Gonzalez knew the rules of, and then it turned out to be just essentially a no disqualification match. So
right. Yeah. Yeah. So
weird.
I don't know.
You're right though. I wonder. I mean, yeah, they do care about the body guys, right? But we wouldn't consider Yokozuna a body guy.
No.
Obviously, he's a huge guy.
Right.
But like, Luger's a big, body guy.
He's a body guy.
But is Ramon really a body guy? I don't know if I consider Ramon a body. He's in good shape.
No, I mean, yes and no. I think if Ramon was Bret Hart stature,
yeah,
Ramon ain't getting no airtime.
Well, Tatanka's a body guy.
Tatanka's a body guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even with the same character, same guy, Scott Hall, if he was just, 6 foot, 220 pounds, I don't think he would have got nearly the push he is right now.
Yeah.
Being 6'6" and, 240 or whatever, 230.
Well, so I'm just trying to think, because I remember people used to say, what was it, like 2010 or something? Something like that, like when Punk and all them were on top. Or like later, like 2012 or whatever, when it was like Punk and Cody and Dan O'Brien. All
Yeah.
When it was the smaller dudes. And people would kind of be like, well, they did this before in like 93, 94 with Brett, but not to the not to the degree that they would do in 2012. Just really,
no. Those were
Brett and Sean really in 93.
Yeah, 2012, those are average guys. Like you see Daniel Bryan, you see CM Punk. They were literally average build, average height. Yeah. You know what I mean?
If not smaller than average height. I mean, Daniel Bryan's like what, 5'11"?
Not even, I don't think.
Is he shorter than that? He's a small guy.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure he's shorter than that.
Well, and CM Punk is for sure an average guy because he got massacred on UFC pay-per-view twice. And any normal human being would get massacred on UFC pay-per-view. So that definitely proved to be true.
Right. But going back to 93, you look at guys like Brett, who's pretty fucking built for a smaller guy. Like, he's in good shape.
He is. He's an underrated like big guy.
Yeah.
Like upper body wise for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You have fucking Lex Luger, you have fucking Scott Hall, Shawn Michaels, who's no twig necessarily either. I mean, he definitely shrinks down by 94, 95, but even still, I mean, at this time you have Mr. Perfect, you have Diesel, you have all these. They try to say, oh, it's not the land of giants anymore, but it still is. Even the 1-2-3 kid, I mean, he's skinny and scrawny, but compared to a Daniel Bryan, 1-2-3 kid's probably still got him beat a little bit. I would think.
No way. 1-2-3 kid is really scrawny.
In 93?
Yeah.
No, I would think
Daniel Bryan's a thicker guy than fucking 1-2-3 kid.
Yeah, but if you stood 93, 1-2-3 kid and Daniel Bryan next to each other, I bet you 1-2-3 kid's bigger.
No way.
I don't know. I bet you.
I think you should look up pictures of them right now and then try to tell that to me again, because there's just no way.
You know what, Bob? I will.
Okay, great. And as you do that, I will continue with our second and last note here of syndication news. On the October 10th edition of Wrestling Challenge, Mr. Perfect challenged Diesel to a match. And I'm sure ticket sales as a result went through the roof. And Austin is still looking to see if he can find anything. And it's probably not going to find anything that he thinks is accurate.
Look at this shit, okay? Look at this shit.
Yeah, he is built like a fifth grader.
Fuck out of here, he is.
Yeah, he is. So
that's at least ninth grade. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He's a fifth grader.
No.
Yep. And then you're going to show me a picture of Daniel Bryan, who's probably going to look like, you know, a high schooler or a college guy in comparison.
Hold on. Let's see. Buddy,
old pal.
Daniel Bryan. Okay, look.
Yeah. He is significantly bigger.
He's got bigger traps.
Exactly my point.
Oh, okay. Well, that's it.
What? You can't be like, that's it. That's the whole point.
Okay, who gives a shit? Fuck.
That's a point for Bob. All right. So Mr. Perfect has challenged Diesel to a match. Obviously, they're having matches on house shows already. But who knows? Maybe we'll get a televised match. That it's a dream match that no one knew they needed or wanted.
Right.
Yeah, here we are. That brings us now to WWF RAW from October 11th, 1993. We are taped from New Haven, Connecticut. I don't know if you've noticed, this is like 3 shows in a row that New Haven, Connecticut was the host town.
There you go.
So we're in the era where Raw would tape, 4 fucking episodes in the same goddamn venue.
Yeah, what assholes tape more than one show a sitting? Like, who fucking does that?
WWF does. World Wrestling Federation.
And so do we. So continue.
And so do we. Yes. But we're drawing a bigger house. So.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, no question about that. So the show starts off with a video promoting the WWF Intercontinental Championship match between Razor Ramon and Rick Martel. Vince highlights the Battle Royal from last week, which has to be about the 3rd time in the last 2 weeks. Mind you, they did it twice, I think, last fucking episode in which they've done this. So, they highlight, Ramon, he eliminated both Pierre and Jacques, and now it will be him against Rick Martel, who will be the WWF Intercontinental Champion.
Tonight, 2 men driven by unyielding passion will square off for the gold.
That's good.
I don't think Vince took a breath the entire time he did this voice opening for us. It was so like high drama.
Yeah.
And they're showing like flashes and it's all about tonight for the IC title. It felt a little bit overdone for sure. And Vince's selling of the moment, even though like it wasn't even that big of a moment, like it was basically a battle royal with the last 2 guys where nothing happens. Yeah. So there's really not that much drama. But Vince is selling it like it was the fucking hardest thing of all time for them to get to that last two men standing, which is absolutely ridiculous. So that's how we're setting the stage this week. So right there, I was kind of like, just let the match speak for itself. Hopefully it delivers, kind of thing.
I'm kind of hoping that at some point on the WWE network that they'll have like an unreleased section or hidden gems where they've just recorded Vince McMahon in the studio doing these recordings and just seeing him just like going insane.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
Because you know that his face is probably beet red. His veins are popping out of his neck. Yeah.
Fucking
We gotta
wrestling the tie off, unyielding passion.
Yeah, you know he's fucking fired up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Gotta be. We then get our Raw opening video, and we go to the arena where Vince McMahon, Randy Savage, and Bobby Heenan, they are on commentary, and they proceed to promote the title match between Ramon and Martel. Heenan naturally picks Rick Martel because he's a model wrestler, model citizen, and he'd be a model Intercontinental Champion. Savage, meanwhile, picks Ramon because he has the most machismo.
Yeah.
Which one are you siding with? Are you if these guys are salesmen, which one is going to sell you? Is it going to be what Heenan says, or is it going to be what Macho says?
Oh, easily Heenan.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Side note here, another smoking hot babe with the Raw sign in the ring as the card's getting explained. So definitely watch out with that kind of pops up for this episode if you do choose to go back and watch. Just had to point that one out there for you.
Yeah. Bob. What else popped up on that one for you?
Oh, let me tell you, I got a little machismo on my shorts, if you know what I mean.
Well, I almost just choked on my Diet Pepsi, so thanks a lot for that one. Jesus Christ. All right, so that brings us to our opening match. It is between Razor Ramon and Rick Martel for the vacant WWF Intercontinental Championship. As per usual, it starts off with
unyielding passion.
Oh, machismo on my pants. Okay.
Oh, God.
They start off taunting each other. Ramon does the toothpick thing because, I think he, at this point, has never had a match where he doesn't do that.
Hey.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Didn't Shane Douglas one time say he sidestepped it and then Ramon wouldn't continue the match until he found his toothpick to do the spot?
No way.
I'm pretty sure he said that.
Oh shit!
It was a house show and he was just he blocked it or something, or he avoided it.
Yeah.
Then it fell to the floor and Ramon went to the floor, picked it up, and then threw it in his face because he had to do it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I believe it.
I would too. It starts out a slow start, mostly taunting, some stalling. Ramon hits a fallaway slam. Naturally, Martel's got to slow it down because, hey, it's the 80s.
And hey, he's got stretchy skin.
That's right. His thighs are flapping.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome, pal. That's what I'm here for.
To be fair, though, this did have, I thought, a big fight feel to it, especially being outside of the Manhattan Center with the larger crowd, the drama that they've kind of presented us with. It did feel like a big, important match, and it needed to crown a new Intercontinental Champion, especially coming off of the reign of Shawn Michaels. I think was a little bit lackluster, I would say. So I'm glad that they're kind of giving the belt maybe a focus and a redirection, hopefully. But at this point, early in the match, I was going to give it a chance, basically.
Oh, I completely agree with you about the big match feel. I mean, if you have this, not to take anything away from Manhattan Center, I think Manhattan Center is a good venue.
It's its own entity for sure.
Yes. So, but this match is taking place in front of, I don't know, 3,000 people?
Probably
3,000 to 5,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
And, they've done a pretty good job promoting it, if not, excessively.
Yeah. A little dramatic.
Yeah. But I think the venue certainly helps in making it seem like it's a bigger deal.
Yes.
Even though everybody and their brother knows that Martel's probably not winning this.
Well,
yeah. So Martel, like I said, kind of slows it down with some rest holds, and he gets slingshot back into the ring from the apron. Some basic shoulder work before we go to a commercial. Martel continues to focus on Ramon's lower back, probably trying to be like, "Hey man, you're not gonna hit that razor's edge on me." He hits a scoop slam on the outside. Back in the ring, Martel delivered a back suplex after sending Ramon into the corner several times. Martel tries to cheat, but the referee sees his feet on the ropes, where Martel was trying to get a cheap pin. Martel knee lifts Ramon from behind and then sends Ramon corner into the corner chest first, if I could read a sentence correctly. Martel goes for the Boston grab and has the move locked in, but Ramon reaches the ropes. Moments later, Martel drops Ramon to the mat and puts on the crab again. Ramon powers out of it, showing that he has leg strength, and hey, my lower back doesn't hurt. And they proceed to trade some roll-ups, but Martel keeps control following a drop kick. Ramon tries for a top rope back suplex, but Martel avoids it with an elbow strike. Ramon rolls through a top rope crossbody, but Martel decks Ramon with a clothesline for a 2 count. Ramon proceeds to deliver a knee lift to avoid a backdrop. Martel seems to jump too soon for the Razor's Edge, but Ramon still, hey, that back doesn't hurt. He's able to, I guess,
pretty much deadlift,
yeah, and recover pretty well. He proceeds to plant Martel with the Razor's Edge, winning the match, and is the new WWF Intercontinental Champion.
So real quick, just some notes, not necessarily about the action here. To start the match, Martel's chest was bruised. It looked like some serious chops were traded, which makes me think maybe he worked a couple of shows with a Tatanka, because his chest was pretty bruised up. Also,
well, it's probably from a couple, because this is the same taping as the match with Tatanka.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's probably where it's from.
It's okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So I noticed that right off the bat. He was pretty blistered. Also, there is, I would say in about the third row, there's one of them multi-man signs for the Razor's Edge, which is fucking awesome. Razor Ramon's over so big, and I've said this, the past 2-3 weeks now. It's so cool to see like the organic build for Razor Ramon fandom wise, because he's over huge. So we had that kind of in the background here. Also, towards the end of the match, I thought with the slowing pace, I was like, oh my God, it's been so slow, but they were able to kind of recover and pick it up. And now I know why 7-year-old little Bob probably thought that this was a pretty decent match, because I think it was too. With that said, I would have had somebody else in Martel's position. I couldn't help but to think of how much maybe cooler it would have been and like more up to date if you would have had a guy like Bam Bam in there against Razor Ramon, or one of the new relatively younger heels, because there's so many on the roster that the fact that they have to resort to Martel, and maybe because he's tried and true and he's got a history and they can kind of quote unquote count on him to make Razor Ramon, I don't know. But either way, I just, that thought kept coming up, like, oh, Bam Bam or Adam Bomb, or there was just so many other options that they could have gone with. I was a little disappointed in that aspect, but the match itself was good. It was better than I thought it was going to be fair. A lot of close pins, like Bob went over at the end. The attempts of the Boston Crab I thought were pretty well done, even though Razor was able to get to the ropes relatively quick on the first or second try there. And the deadlift Razor's Edge, holy shit. Martel basically got folded up again, and Savage yelled out, he snapped his neck. Like, oh, fuck. Because it did. It looked devastating. So Razor gets the pin here. Crowd's pretty responsive when we crown a new IC champ. And I'm just looking forward to the direction they go in. But as far as the match, I must say that I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty decent match as well. Probably not as good as I thought it was when I was 7, but it held up pretty well.
Right.
Although, so you're saying like, hey, maybe somebody else other than Rick Martel in the spot. How about Fatu? Could you buy into a guy like Fatu? Mind you, he had a pretty damn good match with Brett back on March 1st, which you can listen to here on IcoPod.
Put it this way. Would I buy into Fatu? Yes. With the fans at this time, I don't think so. Now, if they were to build Fatu up from that Brett match on, oh my God. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or at least a couple of weeks maybe before the battle royal or something. Yes. I think though coming out of it organically, like, oh my God, Fatu was one of the last guys. Probably not, unfortunately. But would I have liked that better than Martel? Abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I figured like
That would have been great.
Like the casual fan might not buy into it, but I think we would.
Yes.
It would probably make for a better match as well.
Oh my
anyway.
God.
I would say this is probably one of the better starts to a show that we've seen lately.
Yeah, especially over the last couple of weeks for sure.
Yeah, big moment here. Ramon wins the title. You're mentioning how Ramon is having the natural build. We've mentioned it before. You compared this build for Ramon compared to Luger's build.
Oh my God.
One is natural, one is heavily forced.
Yeah.
One of those guys is getting consistent crowd reactions. The other one seems to be dipping. One of them is not natural.
Right. It reminds me of the Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan.
Exactly.
You know, one's very, very organic, kind of comes out of nowhere and is very strong. And one is company built, pretty weak, easily seeing through that.
You know what another one is? That I don't think many people mention it in terms of a baby face. John Cena and Randy Orton.
Okay.
John Cena, they naturally got to like, oh, hey, this guy's pretty fucking cool.
Right.
Randy Orton was a dickhead heel. And then they were just like, well, we want you to be face, so we're going to force you to be face and force you down our throats. And people did not buy into it.
No, yeah, I think that's a great example.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's a great example. So yeah, I think these guys fall right into that category. Again, it's so funny to me that out of all the things that they could have gotten wrong, Razor Ramon's one of the things they get right. The Cuban, Miami guy. And of course, you got to chalk some of that up to Scott Hall because, Scott Hall's pretty fucking cool anyway. But it's so funny how things like that work when it comes to wrestling. That this guy's fucking over. The crowd loves him. And just because he's cool.
And the funny thing is that he actually had a rather successful heel run. He had a feud with Savage, and then he has a feud with Brett.
Yeah.
And he goes into a feud with 1-2-3 Kid, where he arguably makes the 1-2-3 Kid.
Right.
And now he's going into a babyface role, which obviously he goes on to have quite an amount of success, which we'll be covering over the next 2 years worth of WWF shows. But
yeah. And
I don't think that's highlighted enough either. It's not like he failed as a heel. He actually was exceptionally well as a heel.
Right. And the whole thing is, I think by 93, even as early as 93, the dorky, dad, face guy who's in the backyard barbecuing with a pair of white sneakers on, Lex Luger, doesn't transfer over. The crowd's getting younger. They're getting more impatient with wrestling, I think, as far as media goes and how the whole atmosphere in 93 was changing anyways. So it's such a weird time. It's a weird time in wrestling. And I think Ramon's a good catalyst of that because here, like I said, here's this random Cuban Miami guy who's was a really big heel, and now everybody fucking loves him because he's cool.
Yeah, he always had that cool vibe to him.
Yes.
What isn't cool is if fans were to fall for any cheap knockoffs, because we get a commercial saying, "Hey, don't fall for those cheap imitators."
Yeah, same one.
WWF is the real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, that's in relation to, I would imagine, WCW.
Yeah, gotta be. And it's so ironic that Savage is the one who closes that out,
Exactly.
It's hilarious.
There's only one Randy Savage, or whatever.
Right.
Within a year and a half, he's fucking with them. So that leads us to our second match. It is the Head Shrinkers taking on Tommy Morrison and Sid Curtis. Now, if you're expecting some kind of upset, similar to PG Walker over IRS, well, you'd be mistaken because the Head Shrinkers have absolutely no problem just killing these poor souls. Morrison is driven down on the mat with a double frontward falling facebuster type of thing, essentially like the stroke.
Yeah.
Modern fan.
Yep.
And then Fatu wins with a top rope splash.
Devastating. He came down real hard on that one. All I could think was, as these guys were getting torn apart, basically, was why isn't the Heads the champions?
I was just going to say I like the Quebecers. I know you don't,
I don't.
but if you want to make money, like a lot of money, probably, the Head Shrinkers are dominating the tag team division for like the next 8 months to a year.
Right. Well, think of it in this context. If wrestling is a shoot,
yeah,
who's the fucking tag team champions? You got the Head Shrinkers on one side and the Quebecers on the other.
Yeah.
It's a shoot. Who's fucking winning?
The Bushwhackers.
Oh, obviously, but we can't pick them.
Yeah, they'll lick your fucking skull until you are unconscious.
Sure, you're tapping out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no.
Why is your tongue so rough like a cat? It hurts. And they just submit.
Take the belts.
We don't need them anymore.
No, Head Shrinkers, hands down, they're badasses. They can move. They're big. It's the one word that comes to mind when the fucking Head Shrinkers are in the ring for me, impact. Like they're always running. They're always fucking body splashing and clotheslining motherfuckers. And it isn't too pretty, but it's fucking devastating. So I'm a fan. I, again, don't know why they're not the tag champs, why they haven't been yet. It blows my mind.
Yeah, it's one of those questionable decisions.
Totally.
I don't understand either.
Totally.
Realistically, I would have had them win the titles on 9/13 instead of the Quebecers.
Yeah.
There's a roll from there.
Right. Or what was the last? I want to say, was it one of the pay-per-views maybe, or it was like, why is the Steiners facing this team and not the Head?
The Heavenly Bodies at SummerSlam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the Heavenly Bodies were just randomly brought in, no build.
Right.
They're just like, we want to be champions.
Right.
I'm with Jim Cornette now.
Yeah, no, there's so much, again, bigger guys that have been wasted thus far in 93. I don't know
either. What I do know is we then have commercials, and then there's an ad for Survivor Series, which takes place at the Boston Gardens. Wednesday, sold out within an hour. Yeah. Wednesday night, which is November 24th. So mark your calendars for that one.
Right.
And then we go into our third match of the evening. It is Owen Hart being on Scott King. Austin, you're a big Owen Hart fan, so take it away.
Well, here we were. Again, Owen, as of late, getting some TV time. Ever since he kind of tweaked his knee, we've seen a little bit more from him upon his return, which has been very pleasantly accepted on my end. But here we go. He was taking on Scott King here, which I don't think we've seen before. Right, Bob?
Nope.
No. So he's a relatively new face here in the WWF for enhancement talent. Right into the match here, Owen Hart, he fucking Bobby Heenan with the Hart family. He gets called the biggest turkey that you'll ever see in regards to the Thanksgiving show, SummerSlam. So when Owen's coming out of the ring, that's what Bobby calls him, the biggest turkey you'll ever see this holiday season. Which I was like, you son of a bitch. You bastard.
So accurate.
Bullshit. You like him too. Owen worked over the arm of Scott King to start things off. Savage put over Radio WWF during this match. And it was pretty much clear to me from the beginning that they were treating this as the popcorn match of the night, which kind of sucked because they really weren't talking about the action in the ring. Owen did continue to work on the guy with the hammerlock, monkey flips, some of his more impressive offense that I would akin to more like a 1-2-3 kid or, some of the younger talent of the roster. Bobby calls Helen Hart Horatio. He pretends to forget her name, which I thought was pretty good. Horatio's pretty funny for Helen. What do you think there, Bob?
Horatio?
Yeah, it's like a man's name.
Yeah, I know.
Where the hell did he come up with that? I don't know.
He probably just made it up.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. Owen,
I feel like Lawler's better at insulting the Hart family than Heenan is personally.
Well, I don't know why they're such targets on commentary. Damn it.
I don't know.
Pisses me off. Speaking of getting pissed off, Owen had a solid suplex and a middle rope elbow drop, almost akin to a Randy Savage. So he's probably real pissed off that Owen took that from him.
Well, that's probably why Owen didn't come off the top. He didn't want to piss him off.
Right, yeah. He didn't want to make it worse.
It wasn't the finish. So
No, right. Owen locked in a headlock as Vince plugged again, some movie for the USA Network.
Yeah, they always do that.
Yeah, just not caring about this match at all. Owen hit an awesome belly to belly off an Irish whip. It was really fast. Again, a lot of impact on that one. And then a pretty good missile drop kick off the top rope. Ended up getting the pin with a bridging Northern Lights suplex, which seems to be kind of his finish that he's been going for. He's been hitting that more often than not for the pins, or at least near falls. And I got to say that the crowd was behind Owen by the end of the match. I definitely noticed kind of a decent response from the crowd following the pin. And it might have been because of the Northern Lights suplex, but maybe just Owen in general, which is what I'd like to think. Not a bad match. It was more or less overshadowed by, no attention from the table. Nonetheless, there was some decent moves in there and a solid showing for Owen Hart, I'd say.
Well, it was a really good showcase match for Owen.
For Brett. Everybody loved Brett.
For Bruce Hart. Bruce Hart looked really good. Owen looked really good, I thought.
Yeah.
His off pretty crisp. Some good selection, like fresh, like wasn't redundant or boring. It was actually really, really good. Like the snap belly to belly, like you mentioned, I thought that was great.
So good.
A couple of things I noticed, so like on commentary when they were talking about the radio show, that Heenan mentioned like Terry Funk was on it, which I thought was quite interesting and surprising to hear that they would mention Terry Funk, who is not a WWF employee.
Yeah, I didn't make note of that, but I'm glad you mentioned it because I thought that was weird too.
Yeah, that kind of was like, wow, it's interesting that we would talk about that or even mention it.
Right.
And then another thing I thought was interesting, and I'm maybe going to lead into a little fantasy booking here, was Owen kind of doing a move similar to the Perfect Plex.
Oh, the Northern Lights bridging pin, yeah.
Yeah, which, the Perfect Plex is very similar to that.
Yeah.
And, it could potentially lead into, who knows, maybe a feud between Mr. Perfect and Owen Hart. Be like, hey, buddy, that's my fucking move. Why the hell are you doing my move? And then Owen can be like, well, I'm winning with it, unlike you. And then like, what, bitch? Fuck you. Heel turn Mr. Perfect. Hey, come on.
I was going to say, only if they turn it into a feud where it's like, I'm better than Perfect.
Yeah.
That's every fucking Mr. Perfect feud.
It is.
I
am the definition of perfect, unlike Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Mediocre,
Yeah.
Whatever. But no, I thought it was a really good showcase for Owen Hart.
Yeah.
I mean, if he gets when he gets into a push here heading into 94, I think we're in for a treat for a lot of matches on TV. So
yeah, for sure.
Good stuff.
And I think it's interesting that you use the word fresh because it really was. I mean, that's kind of what the 1-2-3 kid brings to his matches a lot. Like
I was just going to say that, yeah.
A fresh offense. But it's interesting that you bring up Mr. Perfect for maybe a possible fantasy feud for Owen Hart, because talk about a guy who hasn't been very fresh lately. Mr. Perfect for sure. But could you see if they were to kind of work a program to, say, WrestleMania 10, do you think Owen would have been able to bring back that fire a little bit that we saw with him versus Shawn as it comes to Mr. Perfect? Because I do. I think he could have.
Well, I think with the Shawn feud, that Perfect was able to get that wind or that fire because people were saying like, oh, this is going to be a great match, or Shawn's like the new Mr. Perfect, and maybe Perfect was like, no, I'm still fucking Mr. Perfect.
Oh, okay.
So I can see how that fired up. Like Owen Hart right now is kind of lesser known and not really at that caliber of Shawn. So I don't know if he would necessarily have that same intensity.
Right.
You could build an angle to get to that point, and then by WrestleMania 10, maybe he would be like, I'm going to prove that I can still go and that Owen's not taking my spot or whatever,
Right. Yeah.
I think it would make for a really good match. More so because of Owen and what he can bring to the table.
Absolutely.
Perfect good at the time. So
absolutely.
We then get
never know.
Unfortunately, yeah. Unfortunately, we will never know. We then get to an Ico Pro ad, but this one's different than normal because it's just an ad where there's no words, there's no Ico Pro, you've got to want it. No, it's just Razor Ramon working out, and then it goes to an Ico Pro ad, like on the screen, and that's pretty much it.
I thought it was pretty effective. Razor's working out hard. He's in like the spaghetti strap top, like the regular workout 90s guys. looking fucking jacked, working out, and then it's like, you want to look like this? Okay, here's how.
Just take the steroid that you can get over the counter.
Yeah, take this legal performance enhancer, and you'll look like Razor Ramon, who's 6'6" and freakishly big compared to the average man.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
Right. There you go.
We then get a WWF figures ad with Randy Savage. That's still running.
So enthusiastic.
Well, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We then go back to the arena where Vince McMahon brings out Ludwig Borga.
I mean, come on.
For an interview. Borga is welcomed with USA chants, and Borga lets us know that the USA stands for "You Stink a Lot." Good old 90s insults. You gotta love it.
No. That's nice. What is everybody, 3 years old? Like, holy fucking shit. Ludwig Borga has the mental capacity of who, not even are you smarter than a fifth grader? Are you smarter than a third grader? Yeah. You stink a lot. Fuck you, motherfucker.
Well, this is where like Lex Luger should come out and be like, no, it's UFA.
Or he could come up with some anagram for fucking Helsinki.
Yeah.
How evil.
Yeah.
Ludwig. I don't know.
Yeah, when he did that, I just immediately I knew this was going to be a fucking train wreck. I just rolled my eyes and was like, this is where we're going. Borga says that America is crumbling and that the people don't know how to read or write. He wants everyone who is working to stand up. And then he says exactly my point, because he's saying no one stood up. So no one's working in New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah, he says, who has a job? Stand up. Exactly. It's like, okay.
Well, which is ironic because, he has a job, McMahon has a job, the camera guy has a job, commentary guy's got a job, security's got a job. So it's all flawed. It doesn't make any sense. He talks about how Lex Luger stands up for the people, and Borga says that Luger looks more and more like a garbage truck driver. No, Borga, we're not there yet. Duke Droese is about 8 months away, pal, so don't you worry.
Thanks.
McMahon reminds Borga that Luger is in fact here tonight. And he says that Luger could be champion right now. And Borga says that Luger got his shot, and he's a loser just like everyone else, which is accurate. Lex Luger makes his way down to the ring to confront Borga.
White turtleneck and striped pants and all.
Yes, that is true. McMahon sells it like it's a big deal. Like, holy shit, God is here. Luger says that they are sick and tired of Borga speaking anti-America things, and he isn't happy about Borga getting a paycheck here in the USA. Luger says that Borga is going to learn respect in the WWF and in America. And then Borga says Luger has to earn respect. And then Luger tells Borga the old saying, love it or leave it. And then Luger volunteers to help Borga leave it. So Luger takes off his t-shirt and he's fired up. And I want to point out that this proves that Luger does in fact know how to take off a t-shirt. Yeah,
right. Hey, there you go.
So
that
was just a one-time screw up in 2005. Borga calls Luger a hot-headed American. And then Borga says that they will fight when and where he wants to. Borga leaves, and Luger is annoyed by that, but settles for waving the American flag.
Yeah, so when Borga says, we will fight on my terms and when I want to or whatever, and leaves and goes to walk out, Savage on commentary goes, get the hell out of here. And then he's like, under his breath, he's like, you gotta be ribbing.
Ribbing me.
What?
Yeah.
As far as like the little hype, segment here, it's pretty funny. We're first of all, I thought Lex looked like $1 million compared to Ludwig.
Well, yeah. I mean, body wise.
Oh no, I'm even saying on the mic wise. Like Borga.
Oh, really? It was all fucking corny.
That's why. But Borga makes Lex look like holy shit. Lex Luger is a good wrestler with a really good. He can like talk on the mic. That's how I felt after watching that.
Wow.
Not only that, but as Lex is like screaming his promo, you can see the clouds and like dust particles and like spit particles flying out of his mouth because the way the light is shining between them. And it was hilarious because at one point Borga like wiped his face off. Like,
oh yeah,
spitting all over me. Fuck. It was awesome. So I like the intensity that Lex is showing here. I'm thinking like Lex is buying into All-American Lex Luger more than anybody else in the arena. Like he gimmick harder than anybody else there. Because it really feels like he gets fired up about America, which is hilarious to me. That Lex Luger, the narcissist, no longer is a narcissist. He cares.
And he cares about America.
That's right. That's right.
Well, this is just a brutal segment, to me at least. Really corny.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, this is to set up their house show matches, I would assume, to try to get people into the arenas. I'll tell you right now, if I was a high school kid or a college kid at the time, or even 29 years old as I am right now, and I were to see like, oh, hey, Ludwig Borga against Ludwig Borga against Lex Luger coming to Syracuse War Memorial, I'm probably going to be like, you know what? I don't think I need to go this month. I think I'm going to stay home.
Well, they're avoiding the obvious too.
It's the same typical fucking storyline that we've seen up to this point for 10 years.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying they're avoiding the obvious. Why aren't you making the feud about the move?
Oh, the torch. Yeah, about the torture rack.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
I know.
And that's so easy. It's so obvious, and it's different. Hey, I'm doing this move in spite of you.
Yeah.
Like, not only am I doing it, I'm doing it better, and I'm making guys submit faster than you ever did.
I would say it's certainly better than America sucks.
Right.
More fucking shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's when I think of this feud right now, that's like an obvious outlier to me. Like, why aren't they doing that? I don't know. We're going the easy route, I guess. Fuck,
yeah.
You know,
just go with what we know.
Right. Yeah. Plain and
safe. If they're foreign, they hate America. Great. Put it in.
Yeah. And isn't he from Finland? They're saying.
Yeah.
Finland.
Yeah.
Finland is like a neutral country.
Not for Ludwig Borga.
Well, that's the stupid part. Like okay, like Japan, for example, with Yoko, I guess, historically, okay, fine. Yeah, you can buy that. Yeah. Fucking Finland? Like what?
I know.
Just make them Russian. Make them German. Fucking Finland. That's shitty enough right there.
You could just make them from Texas.
Well,
it would have the same impact.
Pretty much. Yeah. I guess so.
Make them from Tennessee.
Yeah.
Make them come from Smoky Mountain Wrestling, where they'll just be like, I hate anybody from the North.
New York folks.
Shoot. The gas is too high. Fuck. Jesus Christ, man. Have you ever tried to go to the dentist in New York? Shit. Doesn't cover my fucking insurance.
They don't carry my goddamn health care.
I just try to get my 3 teeth cleaned, and they ain't letting me do it there.
They wanted to charge me $800. I say, shit, I only make $25 a night.
If anybody from Tennessee is listening to this podcast, we are just kidding. We know that you guys are, very good with your hygiene, and
right. You actually have 4 teeth, not 3.
Right, exactly. You definitely floss. So we go to commercials following that segment, and we go to our 4th match of the evening. It is Adam Bomb against Russ Greenberg.
His theme is so cool.
It is. And I like how it starts off like his video package thing starts on the TV, so you see the explosion.
Like, oh, what is that?
We're under attack again? Fuck.
It's awesome.
Harvey Whippleman is the new manager for Adam Bomb. Apparently, Johnny Polo sold Bomb to Harvey.
There you fucking go. Why wasn't that from the fucking beginning?
Yeah, but now like Harvey Whippleman, he's associated with essentially all losers, and now Adam Bomb is with them, so now he's going to be labeled as a loser.
I'll take anything over Polo with fucking...
Yeah. Harvey's a better fit than Johnny Polo, I guess.
Or Slick.
Or Slick. Yeah.
Holy fuck.
I would just have Adam Bomb associated with Bigelow and Luna. Fuck it. Who cares?
Well, then you could
make him a tag team on TV or something.
Yeah, well, because then you could even maybe add some backstory in, like, oh, why do you think Luna looks like that? She's from the same island.
Or you could be like, make a Undertaker Kane feud, or angle, but 5 years earlier, and Bigelow can be like, this is my brother.
Yeah, you could have done that.
You know, or what? I don't know.
I mean,
he's deformed. He eats a lot of red blow pop, so his tongue is always red.
What a sick human being.
Yeah, he's so twisted. He doesn't even eat the gum. He just licks the hard candy part. This is nuts.
Right. He eats the stick.
Yeah. Like my brother's weird.
Right.
But not as weird as me. I have flames on my head, you know.
You could have maybe played I don't know though. I think the only reason the Kane Undertaker thing worked is because they were both big and tall with dark long hair.
Oh well, I was being kind of joking about the brother thing. The Kane Undertaker one works because first of all, he's got a mask, he's deformed.
Right. You don't know.
To it's ridiculous, but
you could have made them all cousins like the Manson family or something.
Oh
like
yeah.
That would have been cool. Like all these outcast weirdos.
That could have been cool.
Like the mastermind behind, or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
So many things you could do, but they just are just like, we don't want to do anything with Adam Bomb. We'll just make him do nothing. So this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
They also note that Harvey manages Well Done, who I don't believe we've covered on. We haven't covered them yet, have we?
No, we haven't seen them. At least I don't even know who the fuck they are, but they keep mentioning them.
I'm pretty sure they're a forgettable tag team. That is for sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see here. Bomb hits an impressive standing drop kick at one point in the match. And he hits the slingshot clothesline, but from the apron into the ring. But Bomb is still kind of having trouble with that. I don't even know if he should bother continuing with that move. It kind of lands awkward about every single time. And then eventually here he wins with the Adam Smasher Powerbomb. During the match, they talked about the Crush Savage Summit taking place next week.
Regardless of some of the awkwardness that Bomb seems to be working out, I thought it was a good showing for him. Again, the Adam Smasher Powerbomb is fucking really cool. The way he kind of goes down with the Powerbomb. I'm still on the Adam Bomb train, regardless of his managers and regardless of some of the flub ups and, awkwardness in the ring. I'm still on the train. I'm hanging on. Still like Adam Bomb. I'm hoping. I'm holding out hope. And I know he's around for a while. So I'm praying towards the future that, we're going to get something. I just got to stick with it. And maybe probably not in 93, maybe 94, I'll get something, but they're making it fucking tough. I'm not surprised that the fans aren't really caring at this point because that's how they kind of treat Adam Bomb. Like they don't fucking care. So,
well, I'm just like you. I'm just dying for Adam Bomb to get anything remotely close to a push or momentum, an angle. He's not. Is he even feuding with anybody? I don't think he has a feud with anybody. So they're still treating him as if that was his second match on Raw. Yeah, when did he's been there since what? Fucking May or something. He's been for a while.
It's been a couple months. Yeah,
we're going on a handful of months, and he has no angle. I mean, he's had house show matches with Undertaker and stuff, as we've noted before, but there's no substance to it. There's no
flesh that out on TV.
Yeah,
I would have been all about that, and I don't even like the Undertaker, and I would have been all about that.
Right. Yeah. It's just he's becoming the most frustrating character, and it's not even his fault.
No, absolutely. I completely agree.
We go back to the commentary table where Vince, Bobby, and Randy promote the summit for next week. Savage says that they are friends and the summit will be just verbal. Nothing physical is going to happen. They're bros. We'll talk it out. He thinks that they will work it out and thinks that Crush is too smart for the issues to go beyond that.
Right, yeah. He says, oh, it won't come to that. Crush is too smart. Like, Crush isn't dumb enough to try me because I'd whoop his ass. It's kind of what it felt like Savage was basically saying. So, again, out of everything that's been going on Raw, the feud where the guy is at commentary and the other guy's over the phone has me more interested than anything else.
Yeah.
So to say that I'm looking forward to see what fucking happens next week would be an understatement because they've built it up pretty fucking good. So I am interested and I'm looking forward to that next week to see like where are they going with this? Because on one hand, Vince, throws jabs at Savage like, oh, remember the contract. Don't get in trouble. But on the other hand, he's featured that's a pretty featured spot to be fighting a returning Crush who, a couple months ago was like fighting the fucking champ on Raw and was like getting a pretty good push. So I don't know. I'm pretty interested to say the least. I
like the dynamic here or the approach that Savage is going where it's like, no, man, we're friends. But if I have to, I will fucking kill him.
Yeah.
Or I would definitely beat him up, but he's not dumb enough to go down that route.
Right.
I think that's a great way of doing it. Instead of him just being like, no, man, we're friends. I don't want it to go like this. Like he's going to kick my ass or whatever. He's just like, we're buddies. If Crush was smart, he's not going to fucking try to turn on me because I'm Randy fucking Savage.
Fucking kill him.
Yeah. And like, I have a gun in my fucking trunk of my car. Like he will be dead.
Right.
So
yeah,
that was just good stuff. That leads us to our main event, where it is the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team Champions, the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, taking on Dwayne Gill and Barry Hardy.
We've seen both.
Yeah, Gill and Hardy are they're regular here, and they also they've teamed up together too. I think they're like the Enhancement Tag Team or something
like that. But I got to tell you, when the Rock and Roll Express came out, they got a pretty good reaction, better than I thought they would.
Well, they are huge stars of the 80s for the NWA.
Yeah, but to be fair, you're still in the Northeast.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. And they did. They got a good reaction.
Yeah, I think, when I was watching it, I made sure I wanted to pay attention to see what their reaction would be. Because again, you are right. They are in Connecticut. I remember watching and I'd be like, I wonder if they're going to get like a huge, if this was in like South Carolina or like Virginia.
Oh my God.
The place probably would have been rocking.
Right.
Like Tennessee or something. They would have been like, oh my God, fucking rock.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. There was definitely people there that knew who they were.
Yep.
And we're like, hey, these guys are pretty good.
Yeah.
And I want to point out with the Smoky Mountain Wrestling, I do like the Rock and Roll Express. They are capable of good matches. I just don't know how well they are going to fit in with the WWF.
Yeah, it's definitely, again, going back to what we've talked about in the past, even with like Ted DiBiase, it's like a 80s meets 90s thing. Whenever that, established 80s star or stars in this case come into the 90s, 93 version of WWF, it just, something doesn't click. Something is like a mishmash there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with this.
Yeah, I don't know if they're in here long term, but it'll be interesting to see how they play it out for the next couple of months here, at least.
Right.
Heenan notes that Razor Ramon has retired from professional wrestling, saying he has accomplished all that he can possibly do in the business and that he has pulled a Michael Jordan. Of course, that's in reference to Michael Jordan retiring from basketball to adventure into a career in baseball.
Rough.
So Razor Ramon is hanging it up. He can't go any higher than the Intercontinental Championship. Good riddance. Thanks. I guess the title's vacant again.
Right. Either that or it de facto goes to Rick Martel.
Oh man, I would rather it just be vacant. We'll just do the whole fucking thing over again. Another battle royal, another fucking match. Be great. As for the match here, the Express, they hit like a spine buster clothesline combo on Gill for a near fall. And then later on, they win following a double drop kick on Hardy. I mentioned here, I haven't noted at least, that the referee never once tried to get them both out of the ring.
Dude, I was just going to say.
Clearly allowing them to do their finishing move there. So
the ref didn't give a fuck that the Rock and Roll Express were in there as a team pretty much the whole match.
It was. Now, if it was the Quebecers, he'd be like, no, get the hell out. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like, oh, you can do whatever you want.
It's like, oh, these are the Southern boys. Like, they probably don't understand. Poor them. Like, we'll just let them do it.
Right.
They probably don't know the rules.
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, let's see. Robert Gibson's probably like, well, wait a minute there, ref. There's 2 of us. We're both supposed to be in the ring. Now, when there's one of us, like if this is a 1-on-1, then yeah, one of us would, but there's 2-on-2, so like both of us are in. We're out there, ref. And he's probably like, no, Gibson, that's not how it works. I don't know rules.
To me, this match felt very forced. Like, hey, this is the Rock and Roll Express, like these guys.
Well, here's the thing with the Rock and Roll Express. They are not designed to be a team that dominates or controls a match.
And that's what happened.
Yeah. They are without question the team that gets beaten up, especially Ricky Morton. Ricky Morton is a great guy to get beat up and then get the hot tag to Gibson. He's a great babyface in peril. Their ideal situation is to be beaten up for like 6 to 10 minutes, take the brunt of the fucking offense from the heels, make their fiery comeback and win. So when they're in a match here where it's like 2 minutes and they're like, you do all the shit, it's not going to connect nearly as well.
And it didn't because I'm not very readily familiar with the Rock and Roll Express as far as, matches and stuff wise goes. So for me to be kind of maybe at this time a regular WWF viewer not readily familiar with the work of the Rock and Roll Express, you're kind of like, why should I care about these guys?
Yeah.
What does it matter?
Yeah.
And that's how I felt. I mean, I hate to say it, but as far as 93 WWF, I don't think the Rock and Roll Express needs to be there. Now, if they had signed the deals back in the 80s when they almost did, I think it would have been huge. But this isn't the 80s. This isn't really the space for them to thrive in this environment. We need face teams on one hand, but on the other, we don't need a Rock and Roll Express. I hate to say that, but it's kind of true.
Yeah, I would say that they're probably at least 3 years late.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like 1990 is probably the latest I'd go in terms of like they probably should have made the jump. 93 is just too late.
Well, weren't they supposed to sign in like
there was a deal for them in the 80s
or something?
Yeah, there was a deal for them like in the mid 80s.
Right.
But I think Morton was under the impression that he was gonna, or no, what was it? He said something in a shoot where he was like, "Oh, they wanted to give me the NWA World Title, but I said no."
Yeah.
And I think that's when he was feuding with Flair, and they wanted to give him the belt. He said no. So, I mean, that could have been Morton thinking, that they'll make more money than NWA, which they probably did, realistically.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
At the time, they were probably making way more money. So.
Yeah, as a top act for the company, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so Rock and Roll Express probably just a few years too late.
Yes.
We'll see how it plays out over the next several months. We get footage yet again of Razor Ramon winning the WWF Intercontinental Championship earlier in the show. And then we are told what we'll see next week, and that is we will see Tatanka, IRS, and the Steiner brothers. They will all be in action. And of course, there will be the summit between Randy Savage and Crush. Savage assures us that it will be just verbal and not physical. Heenan thinks that Crush will shove Randy's hand up his own nose.
Yeah, he goes, well, because Savage talks about, we're going to shake hands and, we're going to be men about it. And as Savage is kind of getting heated with Bobby tells him that when Savage extends his hand, Crush is going to take it and he's going to shove it right up his nose. And then they just argue as we fade out. And that's the episode.
Well, here's the thing, though. What I don't think people realize, and what Heenan probably doesn't realize, is that the amount of cocaine that Savage had done in his career, his nose was probably so wide open that it wouldn't even hurt.
Right. He could just slide it right in there like a glove.
Yeah, it wouldn't have hurt him at all. So
That's fucking gross. Regardless of that little tidbit of information.
well, I'm just speaking the truth.
Again, I was looking forward to the summit for next week. I think they did a really good job this episode of promoting that. And just over the last couple of weeks, again, it's been one of those things where you look forward to kind of what's going to happen, which is nice. As far as this episode on a whole, Bob, I'll take the lead if you don't mind. I thought it was a pretty refreshing episode of Raw. We saw almost all of my personal favorites. We got Owen, we had Razor, Bomb, the Head Shrinkers. Really, really good stars on the show this week. And I feel like we're finally getting somewhat of a footpath to Survivor Series. Maybe IRS versus Razor, Bomb finally on a pay-per-view card. You know, we'll see. But again, it was just a very refreshing episode of Raw. The last 2 weeks weren't great. So it was nice to kind of recover here. And I feel like that's what we did. This was a recovery episode.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. The squash matches involved guys for the most part that I like to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking with, Owen looked really good.
Yeah.
And the match between Ramon and Martel was decent enough. And it features a title change. It's a big win for Ramon, so you're going to remember it.
A Raw moment, if you will.
Right. And yeah, next week, the summit, I'm 100% invested in it. I'm curious to see how this plays out. Will Crush and Savage make up? Will Crush say, fuck you, Randy Savage? You're not my friend. Yeah, this is the type of stuff you want. What is going to make me interested into next week's episode?
Or maybe it'll be the other way around. What if Savage is like, no, fuck you, Crush. Like, you're making me look stupid on commentary? Fuck you. And he just...
Yeah.
And Savage...
Those collect calls aren't cheap, brother.
Right,
you keep on hanging up on me.
They count, damn you. Okay, you got to be ribbing.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So I would say, yeah, this was a pretty good episode, and we're getting back into maybe more consistent television.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm 100% invested in the Savage Crush feud. So I'm definitely on board for next week's episode.
Yep. I'm big into seeing kind of where Razor moves forward. Who knows? We might be getting the same deal where it's like, forget the IRS thing. We're going to do something else. Who knows who Razor is going to be, feuding with moving forward. Not only that, again, Owen Hart, what are they going to do with him? Adam Bomb, hopefully they're figuring shit out for him. There's just a lot that they could do again. So the momentum is on the WWF side. We'll see where they take it, maybe heading beyond Summers or beyond Survivor Series. Because again, as we've discussed previously, in 93, it's one of them pay-per-views where it's basically the team thing and kind of a throwaway. I feel like not too much is really put into it, but hopefully beyond that, we'll be shaping out 94.
Yeah. I would have to think so. 94 is one of my, I don't know, I guess one of my favorite years of wrestling, at least more than half of it, at least.
Yeah. And for me, 94 is a lot like 93. I would say I've seen maybe a little bit more of 94 than 93 as far as Raw TVs go. But again, it'll be kind of refreshing to just sit there, and I hate to keep using that word again, but it'll be nice to sit there and kind of rediscover, some of the happenings in 94, just like we have in 93. It's been very interesting because it's better than I remember it. So hopefully we continue that moving into the new year.
Well, I think 94 is also kind of like the year of opportunity.
Yeah.
For a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Like 93 has a few guys getting opportunities, but 94 is, and especially 95 probably.
Right.
Everyone's really trying to get that opportunity and make the most of it.
Yeah, well, because we've made the point before. 93 is your base, right? You got to have a base to start with. And Raw helps kind of usher that in. I think without Monday Night Raw, without live programming every week, every Monday on TV, WWF would have ended up a lot different as far as look, style, influence. So to have that solid basis, 1993 full year in the books, for 94 to have that platform to jump off of, I think it's going to end up much, much better. Like you said, very big opportunities on the horizon for people in 94.
Yeah. And if anybody else out there is excited about 94 and you want to share your thoughts, of course, you can get a hold of us on Facebook or at icopodcast@gmail.com, and we'll read your stuff on the air. Mike Campbell always gets a hold of me with various comments, and I try to get them on the air as much as I can remember them to get them on the air. So, but yeah, so going into next week, we got the summit. We got a few other things, if I remember correctly, that kind of maybe send us in a different direction. I think a new face arrives as well.
Ooh.
So that should be intriguing. But outside of 93, I just want to point out right now that we are recording this on, what does it say? October 28th, 2018, which means that this previous Monday, Roman Reigns announced that he had leukemia, or has leukemia. I shouldn't say past tense. I doubt he's recovered in 6 days.
Right.
So I know that we're covering 93 and we're old school wrestling. We do mention, obviously, present day wrestling as well. Whether you like the guy or not, I don't think anybody would want Roman Reigns, the person, the character, whichever, to actually have a, life-threatening illness such as leukemia. And I've noticed a few times on Facebook, people are just making horrible memes regarding his sickness here.
I haven't seen any yet. I haven't seen
I'm in a bunch of wrestling groups, and there's one of the guys was like something about, I can't kick out of this one or something like that. It's just,
oh boy,
just really poor taste, because it's like, it's not the character, it's a human being.
Well, I was just going to say,
through it,
yeah, and as fans, we lose sight of that a lot. We tend to forget that these aren't just superheroes on TV, that they are actual real people.
Yeah.
So, and it's, we joke on this show too. Don't get me wrong. We definitely do. But at the same time, at the end of the day, when the headphones get put down and the podcast is done, I think me and Bob both understand that they are humans that we're talking about.
Right.
So, jokes aside and stuff, I give the man credit for going on live TV and doing shit like that. Telling the world on live TV.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would have the strength to do that, or the courage, really.
Right. So you got to take that into account. Secondly, he's going from probably making the best money of his life to a pretty uncertain future, which sucks. I mean, obviously, I'm assuming that the WWE will keep him on some sort of payroll while he's out. But at the same time, who knows how long it takes to kind of battle back from this. So you got to take that into account too. There's families involved. There's a lot more involved than just a piece of leather with a piece of tin on the front of it and TV ratings and matches on TV. So
yeah, and one of the things I want to point out is that a lot of people want to sit there and say Roman Reigns is one of the worst wrestlers, or not worst, but he sucks or whatever. And I can't agree with stuff like that. He's probably one of the better in-ring workers that they've got. I would say, arguably at this point, it's the same argument where people are like John Cena fucking sucks.
I was going to say, yeah, it's that same paintbrush that he's getting painted with, to whereas I'd even say that I'd rather watch a Roman Reigns match than a Dolph Ziggler match any day of the week. So
100%.
Sorry to say,
yeah,
and that'll piss people off, but that's how I feel about it.
Well, it's like, I'm thinking when people are like, oh, Cena sucks. I mean, this was when Cena was having really good matches with like Edge, Shawn Michaels,
right,
Triple H, all these guys. And it's just because, they force it down our throats that people are naturally hate him. Now, mind you, Lex Luger is getting tossed down our throats right now, but we're not going to sit there and say that he's having great matches with Ludwig Borga. Because that's just not real life.
That's a deep cut, Bob.
It's not. Well, I mean, come on. It's not going to happen.
Wow.
Because that's just not true. But guys like Roman Reigns, he's capable of having really great matches. And I think I just wanted to point out on this podcast, it is a relevant news thing today, this time frame. Although people listening to this will be like mid-November and they'll hear it from us. But I think this is important to know that Roman Reigns is probably a really great guy. I would hope he's a really great guy. Even if he wasn't a really great guy and he's just a wrestler, he doesn't deserve, or nobody should wish against having leukemia.
Right. So there's that. See, we're not all bad.
Yeah, sometimes I can be nice.
Right.
Sure, I insulted people from Tennessee just because that's the narrative or the assumption amongst people. Obviously, I don't think anybody from Tennessee talks like that, or
Kentucky.
Or Kentucky, whatever, or they have that type of mindset or anything. I'm just joking around. Same thing with like New Yorkers. I'm sure you could find something to make fun of me about, and I'd probably be like really offended and say "fuck you," even if you're kidding. But it's whatever.
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't take stuff too seriously.
No, unless you talk about the website and Hogan money.
Yeah. And I mentioned I went to the Syracuse show with Dallas, and I was like, so I take it you didn't hear on the podcast, and he goes, no, and I was like, good, man, because I would have owed you Hogan money, and he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, don't even worry about it.
No, you got past that one. You got past the trap, so that was good. To kind of end it out. I mean, I'm not by no means really a Roman Reigns fan, but at the same time, good luck, man.
Yeah, I saw the report that he could be out for like 2 to 3 years going through this,
like that. Yeah.
So
recovery and like treatment, doesn't you get like really sick?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Like he might lose his hair.
Right, his hair, and you just want to be in bed all the time.
Yeah, he'll be like weak and stuff. Yeah,
it's gonna be weird.
It'll be a while before he comes back.
Right.
But I think everybody believes in him. I saw it all over Twitter. Everybody's been saying it, and we're just two guys doing a podcast. So Roman Reigns probably ain't going to be listening to this, but obviously, I hope he, returns well before 2 or 3 years and can beat that rather convincingly. So,
yeah, and by then he can be listening to us talk about Raw 1997.
Yeah,
because we'll be,
trucking along here. So I just want to talk about that. And also another thing I want to talk about, and I really should start emailing people and try to get ad money for all this shit that I do on this goddamn podcast, but I don't. Recently, we were talking about this off the air. I just want to do this real quick before we bounce off the air here. Anybody that supports independent wrestling, I suggest you purchase High Spots Network. It's $10 a month, basically the same amount that you're paying for the WWE Network. You may be asking, well, why the fuck would I do that? Well, High Spots has a whole bunch of like original talk show things. Kevin Steen show is on there. Best Friends with like Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor, which is highly entertaining, I must say. Just various things, shoot interviews, like 400 shoot interviews or something on there. It's insane.
Sure.
Like I was talking to Austin before we got on the air. I've been watching a whole bunch of IWA Mid-South from 2002 through 2006. Some really great wrestling. Sure, it took place in front of like 30 people, but they were wrestling like it was a full house at Madison Square Garden. You got AJ Styles was in there, Matt Sydal, blah, 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 all these guys. Combat Zone Wrestling, when that was cool, from 2002, around the same time frame when people cared about it. Yeah, when that was relevant, when people cared about it. Northeast Wrestling, a whole bunch of shows on there as well. The Northeast Wrestling show that I'm going to on November 9th is streaming live on there. Of course, again, when you're listening to this, that probably already happened. So you can go on the High Spots network and check it out there.
See Bob. You can see Bob.
Yeah, I will be in the crowd, most likely wearing the typical purple Randy Savage t-shirt that probably 40 other people will be wearing. But hey, I'm not creative.
Well,
but I figured, hey, pass it on. I literally emailed them the other day. It was like, guys, I just want to say thanks because those IWA Mid-South shows, I've been wanting to watch those since I was like 14.
Did they email you back?
Yeah, and they're just like, thanks, man.
Oh,
And I was like, no problem.
oh that's good.
Yeah, so I've been trucking along on those, watching those. Eventually, I will do the same for Combat Zone Wrestling. It's just kind of sometimes it's a chore because my God, those shows are about 4 hours long, and I have ADD, so I can't possibly stay focused that long on one thing. So I always have to bounce around a little bit. But again, High Spots Wrestling Network. I really need to get paid for advertisements, and they don't even. I'm not good at this. I'm not a good salesman. This is why I would never work well in radio. I would just be like, oh, yeah, sure. I love Hot Pockets, and like they would never give me like $1,000 or something.
What's your favorite flavor? The one, it's good. They got a couple different flavors. You can go on there and look. I mean, it's all right.
Did I ever tell you that Jolly Ranchers are just great? They taste great. Green apple, raspberry, blueberry, blah, blah, blah. And then, 400 million people go buy it. And it's like, well, Bob got nothing, no money from it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically the situation here.
Yeah. What else should I do? Oh, Excite Wrestling in Binghamton, New York. ExciteWrestling.com. Oh, fuck. See, I should have got another one. Damn it.
We're racking it up, baby.
Impact Wrestling on Pop TV, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 Pacific. Oh, fuck. 9 Central. Oh, shit.
All right, Bob, before we make too much money off ad sales.
Yeah, I know.
You better close this out.
I'm goofing it. All right. For Austin Skinner, I'm Bob Collins Jr., not a salesman for radio, and you have been listening to IcoPod.
You got to sell it.